Let's start with this. Looks like Demarcus Covington is going to be the Patriots' defensive coordinator.
Told you that
which
about
Zoe told you
ago.
a month ago.
A month ago.
What day did Belichick get fired? Was that 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, I'd say within 48 hours, Zoe told you Demarcus Covington is going to be the DC. So he apparently now is going to be that. They haven't officially announced it, but Bertrand reported yesterday that the Patriots have called the other candidates and told them they're out. They're not getting the gig. So if they're not getting the gig, it would lead everyone to believe that Demarcus Covington is going to get this job, which, again, Zoe told you 2.5 weeks ago. So that meant they were hiring the guy all along, much like they did with their head coach. But let's give credit where credit is due. So the Patriots and Gerard Mayo probably knew that they were going to hire Demarcus Covington. But you know what they did?
They actually did the process of going through the interview experience of bringing other candidates in.
Now, partially because of league rules, right?
Yeah.
But also because it's the right thing to do.
You know, I think we knew this day one when Mayo took over the job because he said, I believe in titles. And if you believe in titles, he's going to name a coordinator, offense and defense, because it gives you the opportunity to move up and it gives you a chance to go after jobs. So then you do have to go through the process. But, hey, he's been here for 7 years. He knows his defense as good as anybody. I'm a big fan of his. He's a good dude. They work hand in hand together, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of help.
And do you know who looks better, though, because this happened? Demarcus Covington. They went through a full search. They may have known they were going to hire him, but they went through a full search. So he doesn't look like some guy that they just like and promoted without going through an actual interview process. Do we believe Demarcus Covington? I'm going to do that.
I know. We all will. I've butchered his name, too.
Demarcus Covington. Wow, we haven't had a Demarcus Cousins segment in a few years.
Yeah.
Remember we used to do those all the time for the Celtics?
They were worthy. Yes.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Demarcus Covington had a real interview, right?
Yeah.
So he actually had to sit down and take questions from a panel of people and explain why he's going to be good at doing this job.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds simple, but shouldn't that be the bare minimum for everybody? Do we think Gerard Mayo had a legitimate, normal process of becoming the head coach of an NFL team? I don't believe it for a second.
No.
Was there ever an interview?
Probably not.
No, it was like being told like you can't leave because you're going to be the next guy. We want you to be the next guy.
Now,
that's like the interview, right?
May there have been 10,000 hours of conversations between Gerard Mayo and Robert Kraft because they're close and they're friendly,
yes.
and they even spend time together outside of work.
Yes.
Sitting courtside at the Celtics together. Yes, they hang. So, yeah. But did they ever sit down and do a formal, proper interview? Probably not. This guy did.
Yep.
This guy had other candidates that were gunning for the job. This guy ran the risk. I shouldn't say he ran the risk, but there was a risk that someone came in and blew them away, and they said, oh, we got to hire this guy if we have a chance to get him. Even if they went into it thinking they were going to hire Covington. And he looks good, and he looks more legitimate as a result of that. And by the way, I have no problem with this guy getting the job because that defense, with what they have decent talent. They don't have great talent, but they have decent talent, and they did a damn good job the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the front seven responded. Yeah. They've gotten better every year. And that's credit to him and Gerard for working with the backers. Same thing with Steve. And whatever role Steve's going to take over here, he will help with the defense, as will Gerard. So they'll help guide him through it. And he's one of the guys that came together, when Bill sort of built this defensive structure. Remember, every series, it was Gerard, Steve, and Demarcus would come together, and they would talk over things, flip it, and Bill would oversee it. And then he would turn it over, and they would get more and more experience through it and be given more assignments. But are you going to feel the same way next week? Say Josh McDaniels is announced as offensive coordinator, and they've already interviewed almost 10 to 12 offensive coordinators?
I'm not going to.
But if you go through the process, you deem that, this guy's the best that we have of the bunch here, and the offense is in trouble right now. Your offense is in trouble. That needs the most overhaul, the most work. I think that's one of the biggest reasons your former offensive coordinator ran to Ohio State. Because I can't come back here and do this next year. It's hard. That's another year of trying to make it work, make it blend.
Because of the roster?
Just because of the talent, the roster. Yeah. And I think you need an experienced guy that has called plays. I get nervous with Nick Caley a little bit because I know he potentially may be the front runner if you read some of the stuff by some of the beat guys. Has not called plays. Was only under McVay for 1 year.
He should have been promoted before he left here, Zo.
You're coming back and
that was 2 years ago.
My point is, if you're going back to you really learned how to be an offensive coach through the old system. You don't coach as much as Caley did, and then just only have 1 year as tight ends coach with the Rams and be a totally different guy. I would think he's going to be 80% built for the old system, and that's structured how I'm going to call it. So then why not have McDaniels?
Who's texting over there? Who's texting? Who's checking in?
Nobody.
No, I guarantee you it's someone saying he did go through an interview process. He did. He did sit down with Robert and have an interview. That's what I'm guessing.
Nope.
No, it wasn't?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Just one thing on the Covington thing. I think this was something the players rooted for too. There was a lot of guys who wanted to play for Mayo but mentioned that Covington should be the defensive coordinator. So I don't know what happens with Steve Belichick. There's been some talk about him potentially being an assistant head coach or some sort of assistant.
And this is a problem, and I'll tell you why. And I thought about this. He's not going to have another Belichick hanging over him as the assistant head coach on that side of the ball. You know that he's going to be involved in that side of the ball. So Steve Belichick has been calling the plays defensively for a couple of years now on this team. So is Demarcus Covington really going to be a full-blown DC where everything on the defensive side of the ball goes through him?
Probably not.
Or is he going to have a head coach and Steve Belichick sort of hovering over him the way Bill Belichick would hover over Matt Patricia? What are we getting? That's a real question about this.
Well, the whole thing is this. Has anything changed? And right,
the head coach is gone.
No, the head coach is gone, but what has changed besides that?
Not much.
Like, Mayo doesn't have the offensive coordinator. If you're going to be a head coach in this league and you interview, you better know who your offensive coordinator is. Look at Raheem Morris, right? Here he is bringing in now Zach Robinson. Like, that's why he got the job. They're familiar with him, but he also had a plan at offensive coordinator. With Mayo, if it is Caley, it's because they're comfortable with it. And, this is one thing I've been big on.
I don't agree with that on Caley.
Well, here's the deal. Is the job attractive or not?
No.
It's not. You know why? Because they're not spending money on the position. They got turned down from a special teamer to take the special teams job. And now the guy they might bring in on special teams, look at the Rams special teams last year.
Not good. Very bad. Terrible.
So again, where have they upgraded on the coaching
teams.
Staff? And listen, I'll support the Caley move because I agree with you. He should. That's the guy I wanted when they brought Bill O'Brien in. Okay, I never liked the O'Brien move. We all know that.
That's your personal thoughts.
That's the guy I want when
Caley
Joe
was the
Judge
guy.
and Matt Patricia came in.
Yes,
that
true.
should have been the elevation from tight ends coach to running the offense. He should have been the next guy.
But the reason why this
misstep by Bill, one of many.
The reason why this job's not attractive is because they're not attracting anybody because they won't pay anybody, and that's what will bother me about
and you're talking
Josh
about
McDaniels.
paying coaches?
Yes, coaches.
Okay. Talking about paying coaching salaries, which is a legitimate concern given that they have to pay Bill Belichick for 2024. And how does that impact their coaching budget?
And if it is Josh McDaniels, now you're dealing with a guy that's been an offensive coordinator, a coach, and fired within 3 years and not getting paid here. Like, this is why I think I did some research on this. There's a big churn rate in the NFL when it comes to offensive coordinators.
And no one's had their job for more than 2 years.
But you get the job. You're an offensive coordinator. You get the job. And if you don't last in 3 years, you're out of the league. And Cliff Kingsbury did it 2 different ways. McDaniels has done it 2 different ways. And it's just like, for now, here we are talking about the coaching staff. It's 3 years or it's over. Or it's a year and a half and it's over. If you're this hotshot offensive coordinator, you'll be a head coach. And then if you don't survive and have another offensive coordinator, you'll be out of the league. And that's what we're looking at here with the Patriots.
I saw that Callahan guy getting off the plane, private jet down there in Tennessee.
Bo?
No, whatever his name. Yeah. What's his first name?
Brian
Callahan.
I'm calling him Bo. Sorry.
With the young family, and he just gets off, and I'm like, wow, they're going from Vrabel to this guy. Like, weird. Felt weird. Mike Vrabel does not have a job yet.
Well, Brian Callahan designed that offense in Cincinnati, and when they have their players on the field, even when they don't, with Jay Browning, they look pretty good, don't they?
Sure do.
All right, so got some ability. They upgraded on the offensive side of the ball. I'll give them that. I don't think they upgraded their program. I would not have fired Mike Vrabel, but everything runs its course. He maybe ran his course there.